The Storm Desk. Read the storm, book the roofs. Every podcast in your truck is saying the same two words. Super El Nino. By Monday, it's in your sales meeting. By Friday, it's on a door hanger that says your neighborhood is about to get hit. The slogan just drifted there, one handoff at a time. By the end of this, you'll know what a strong El Nino forecast does and does not say, and the honest language to hand your team instead. A forecast about ocean temperatures is not a forecast about your roof. Start with what the forecast actually is, because the hype has a kernel of truth this year. On June 11, 2026, the NOAA Climate Prediction Center upgraded from an El Nino watch to an El Nino advisory. A watch means conditions favor it. An advisory means it's here. They put the odds of a very strong event this winter at 63%. So when a representative says a strong El Nino is coming, they're no longer making it up. That's the trap. A real, narrow statement gets stretched into something it never said. Here's the scale problem the slogan hides. El Nino is measured in ocean temperature, averaged over months, across thousands of square miles of Pacific water. Roof damage happens at the scale of one hailstorm, over one subdivision, on one afternoon. The gap is enormous, and forecast confidence doesn't close it. El Nino shifts the odds of weather patterns by region and season. It does not schedule storms, pick neighborhoods, or approve a claim. A basin scale probability is not a property promise. Now the word strong, because it fools people. Forecasters grade events on the Oceanic Nino Index, a running average of ocean warmth in one Pacific zone. Strong means roughly 1.5 degrees above normal. Very strong pushes past 2. But that number describes the ocean, not the damage. It measures how far the Pacific drifted from average, not how many roofs got holed. Strong events have produced quiet weather seasons, and weaker ones destructive local outbreaks. Strength and damage barely track each other. Here's the part the hype always skips, and it can run backwards. The story assumes more El Nino equals more storms equals more work. NOAA's research says it's messier. El Nino tends to weaken the surface winds that pull warm, moist Gulf air over Texas in spring, so spring tornadoes and hailstorms are often less frequent across the southern plains during El Nino. So a Texas hail contractor staffing up for a monster spring because El Nino is strong may be betting against their own region's history. The regional read isn't uniform, and that's the point. A developing El Nino can favor larger hail in parts of the central U.S. and the far southeast, and stormier winters across the southern tier, including a raised threat in Florida. That's real, and Gulf Coast teams should plan around it. And the ENSO link to summer storms is weak, while summer is when hail peaks across much of the country. The honest read is regional, seasonal, probabilistic. A slogan destroys all three. Watch how the wording drifts, because this is the mechanical part. The source says 63% chance of a very strong El Nino in November through January. Leadership repeats it as a very strong winter. Sales here is a huge storm season. The ad reads, storm season is coming. Is your roof ready? The door knock becomes your neighborhood is about to get hit. Each step sounds reasonable next to the last. A hedged probability about ocean water became a damage prediction about one street. No single person lied. The system did. So build a source hierarchy above the hype. One rule, a headline never outranks a dated official source, and a source never outranks the evidence on an actual roof. Rank 1, the CPCENSO status with its issue date. Rank 2, the seasonal outlook, read as probabilities. Rank 3, local storm reports after real weather. Rank 4, the property file. If a claim can't trace down that ladder to a dated source or a photo, it doesn't reach a homeowner. That stops a podcast clip from outranking the file on the truck. Read the bulletin yourself in 5 minutes, because most drift happens when nobody has. Pull 4 things in order. 1, the alert status line. Watch, advisory, or neutral. 2, the issue date, so last month's wording doesn't live forever in your copy. 3, the strength language and the probability. Quote the number, not the vibe. 4, the hedge, where CPC says what's still uncertain at long laid. Capture those 4 into a 1-paragraph memo each month, and the whole company reads from the source, not a clip. Even the 63% event stays uncertain, so read probabilities the way a forecaster writes them. 2 ideas keep a team honest. First, the spring predictability barrier. Forecasts issued in spring are historically less skillful, because that's when the ocean and atmosphere are hardest to project forward, so the winter strength number is still a long lead estimate. Second, A tilt is not a lock. 63% very strong means roughly 1 in 3 lands weaker than that, useful for planning. Not a promise you can print. Now replace slogans with triggers. A trigger is a simple if this then that rule with an owner, a named source, and a next step. If CPC keeps or raises the advisory, refresh the memo and review capacity, all internal. If SPC or NWS reports local severe weather, open an event file and label it preliminary. Only then do property symptoms earn an inspection. The advisory justifies readiness, not telling a street it was damaged. When a representative pushes to knock that subdivision, the answer is a row on the table, not a debate. Gate your routes on local evidence, not climate language. Route release needs 2 gates, not 1. A real local event, reported by SPC or NWS, and property-specific evidence at the address. That same-day storm report page labels its reports preliminary, which is why the property file is the second gate. A forecast never clears both. And keep the homeowner off the roof. Falls from roofs and ladders are a leading cause of construction deaths. Go check your roof before the season hits is not a tip. It's an injury with your name on it. Here's the insurance line, and a forecast tempts you straight across it. Keep 3 things in separate lanes. The forecast belongs to NOAA. The damage finding comes from a qualified inspection after real weather. Coverage belongs to the insurer. You document conditions and write an estimate. The insurer decides coverage. The homeowner owns the claim, and the deductible is theirs. File before rates rise, or El Nino claims are coming, reaches across all 3 lanes at once. Say it, and you sound like an unlicensed public adjuster. Document, don't diagnose the claim. So what do you say instead? Sell readiness and record keeping, not doom. Forecasters are watching an active winter pattern. A good first step is knowing your roof's age and keeping your records in one place. That line is true in March, true in June, and not embarrassing in November even if the season fizzles. The FTC's weather emergency guidance flags act now repair pressure for a reason. Honest copy is how you stop sounding like the storm chaser homeowners were warned about. Here's where Roof Predict fits and where it doesn't. When real weather hits, the question is which homes are worth a visit. Roof Predict pairs an estimated roof age range with storm physics modeled per individual home, so you skip brand new roofs and focus on older stock with a per home reason to knock. It does not forecast weather, inspect roofs, diagnose damage, certify roof life, or decide coverage. Roof age is a planning range, not an exact date. The forecast sets the watch. The dated report opens the file. The roof earns the visit. Close the loop. A strong El Nino is a real narrow climate statement, not a season-long demand guarantee. The strength number describes the ocean, not the roof. In the southern plains, a strong El Nino spring can mean fewer hailstorms, not more. Build a source hierarchy. Hand your team triggers instead of slogans, and gate routes on local evidence. The chaser sells the forecast. You sell readiness, then let real weather and a real roof write the route.